Changing Times Media, exploring new ideas that have the power to change the world.
There's certain ways of ritualizing. I talk about making self-honoring choices, and when I ritualize those and I make them important, then they have a deeper meaning for me. And I always say the meaning isn't in things, the meaning is in us. We apply them to things, and then we find those things meaningful. But it's not the things, it's us. We actually are generating energetically what meaning is. And so the piece, I think, there's a number of pieces of your work which struck me. And I'm not going to call it totally comfortable, but I was really drawn in. Some of your language is how do I describe this? There's a quality to it. It's profoundly reverent, right? It is. So I think of praying. And if you ask me culturally what I think of praying, I'd say it's a burden. You got to go do it because I grew up Catholic, and you got to like genuflect, and you got to go do all this stuff because you got to do it. And it's interesting as you tell the story. I think you were 17 at the time, where you had a job and you were studying and you were trying to do well in school, and you missed some prayers in your tradition. 5 prayers a day, I think is right. Anyhow, you'd missed I think 3, and so you had a lot to do, and you rushed through them only to realize that you didn't even pay attention to what you were doing. And that's the first, at least in the book it seems as if that's the first sort of actual conversation where you entered into a personal relationship with God versus this sort of formalized way of approaching God. Is that accurate? First of all, I don't want to put words in your mouth.
It was personal, and then I tried to formalize it.
Oh yeah, of course.
And then it made me feel contrived. It made me feel like now I was using God to be good. I was using God to be considered that I'd go to heaven, whatever that meant, only to find out there's no hell. I mean, I hate to say that, but you know, you see Christ, and I'm not a religious person.
Right.
Seeing Christ, which is like the double trick for me to even have to say the word Christ, because it comes so loaded that people don't know what to do with you. Yeah. And they think you're this creature, either, you know, way above them or below them or whatever got put into them when it comes to
it makes them very nervous.
It does.
It does.
And I think that that's been the biggest challenge of this, is saying that, but there's no other way to say it other than to say it. That's what happened.
Sure.
I can't change it.
Sure.
I myself had to learn to live with it. But in that, I went through a period of trying to make him go away, because I didn't know how to be here and know that at the same time, because I didn't fit in the games that are being played around me.
I get it. I profoundly, profoundly get it. All right, there's a number of different ways I'd be interested in wandering as we meander through these ideas. One of them, there's a couple of them, because again, I'm reflecting back my personal experience as it relates to, and also what touches me about the work that you've written. So one of them, I'll go back to the reverence and the way of relating to God that strikes me as very honest, not a power play, very humble, and I don't mean that humble in the self-deprecating sort of lowly way. I mean it in a very, almost more human than humble. But humble is the right word. It's a deep sense of reverence for something that is so big and yet not so big.
You know what it is?
That wasn't even English, but go ahead. You sort this out.
No, I got it. It's so empowering.
That's right.
And it's empowering in its subtlety.
Yeah.
Because he said to me, truth, love, and purity propel. They can only grow forward.
Right.
Anything that comes to you with love not only stays with you, but is your reference every time you're growing. So-and-so said, I can do this. My mom believed in me. This one teacher said I was brilliant. And it all comes back to you. When somebody loves you inside and you know it came from a good place, you carry it for the rest of your life. You could be 80, but no time has passed.